Hi, I'm Alex Jackson from Tuesday Talk with Alex, and I'm here with another episode. And today I've got a special guest with me in studio. I'm here with Miss Chandra Smith, Miss Wheelchair America 2024. Thank you, Chandra, for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, again, my name is Chandra Smith. I am Miss Wheelchair America 2024. I acquired a disability 2 years ago, and I am a IT engineer for the federal government. I work for the Defense Intelligence Agency. And right now, for the past 4 years, I've been serving as a 508 compliance officer. So, what I do is make sure individuals with disabilities that are utilizing assistive technology have access to some of our applications and electronic data.
That's excellent, and thank you for being a part of the defense industry as well. I am a member of the Department of Navy, and so really enjoy hearing others, especially those with disabilities, being part of the federal workforce. Can you tell me a little bit about Miss Wheelchair America and how you chose your platform?
So, Miss Wheelchair America is a advocacy competition, if you will. And it is women from all over the United States who have platforms that they advocate for. So they have a mission that's important to them surrounding disability. And the way I chose my platform is my platform kind of chose me. I, as I was telling you, I acquired a disability 2 years ago. But one day I was just working, doing my engineering job, and my supervisor at the time came up to me and said, "We're standing up this 508 office." And I'm like, 508? What's that? I thought it was a zip code. And he was like, "We need an engineer with your knowledge, skills, and abilities to help stand up that office." So I had no idea what it was. And then I had to study and learn what 508 was, because it was never taught in any university class I've ever taken or mentioned in any IT job I've ever had. So I spent about 2 years at that point researching everything there is to know about 508, about the disability community. I began to follow others with disabilities just to learn more. And I mentioned digital accessibility and accessibility whenever I could. And that was a lot. Just ask anybody that knows me. And then one day, after a 7 day water only fast, I fainted. I passed out. I had multi organ failure. And in order to save my life, I was given medication, and that medication took all the blood from my extremities and put it to my vital organs. And that life saving procedure created sepsis. So, and then that is how, a long story short, how I became a triple amputee. And one day, um, just out of the blue, because I am a really good nerd and I am a really good nerd, I wanted to learn, what does it mean to be an amputee, to be a stroke survivor? What would that mean for my life? So I began to search online. And at that moment, I realized how much of an issue digital accessibility was and still is. I wasn't disabled because I couldn't use my hands, of course. I was disabled because of bad design. And I stumbled across, when I was looking for the information I needed, I stumbled across a website that had mouse only control. Now, when you have a mobility issue, and for some of us that are also wheelchair users, and I'm missing my left hand and my right hand, I don't have the dexterity and the range of motion because of a stroke. So it also affected my only intact limb. um, I couldn't use the mouse. So therefore, it was no keyboard access. And that is one thing that I teach about digital accessibility. So to answer your question, that became my platform. It became my mission. When I was released from the hospital, I had a mission to make universal design in both the physical and virtual realms. So primarily I deal with digital, but I also do things in terms of universal design when it comes for housing and so forth, and just working with companies to put disability in the forefront. Because when you design for the few, you benefit the many. So that is, and I'll make a long-winded story to answer your question, but my platform found me.
That's excellent. And I like that you have adapted to your disability and you've found out ways to overcome those adversities and using technology in a way to make that work best for you. Um, since you know that October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, can you tell us a little bit about where you work and what you do?
So again, I work for the Defense Intelligence Agency, and I am a engineer. And what I do is I do a lot of coding, but right now I'm an officer in the 508th department, and we work with electronic data. So I make sure that applications, they are designed with disability needs in mind. So I make sure, for example, images have alt text. I look at coding to make sure screen readers can access the applications. I deal with data. I collect data about how many applications are compliant and so forth. And I also serve as the policy lead for 508. So I write all of the agency's policies surrounding 508 compliance.
That's really neat because I know that just a few weeks ago was the 50th anniversary of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which, for my viewers who may not know, helped transform our federal workplace and ensuring that those of us who work in the federal government have those um, accessibility resources and equipment available to be employed. Can you share what kind of reasonable accommodations that you use at work or even at home?
Sure. So my computer is primarily voice controlled. I use Dragon Naturally Speaking. I also have a few other accommodations. For example, I have a sit stand desk that I can raise the height depending on the mobility device I'm using at the time. I have a alternative mouse that has bigger buttons so that I can push. And yes, that is pretty much what my setup looks
How have you found using Dragon Naturally Speaking in terms of its ease of use, or how often do you find it as easy to use in terms of the way it correctly spells things out, those sorts of things? Have you had any issues with that?
Oh, I have a ton of issues every day, especially with you have to train it, and there's certain acronyms that we use in the Defense Intelligence Agency. So just honing those type of things and dealing with that and correcting, and actually sometimes when it's noisy in the office that can kind of distort things a little bit. So I primarily work from home now. I have a medical telework agreement, so primarily I do work from home, so I do have that quiet time to write and things and dictate, so to speak.
Very nice. What advice would you give to a job seeker who may need reasonable accommodations to ensure that they're successful in the workplace?
What I would tell a job seeker is to definitely always advocate. Self advocacy is so important. Do research on what you know and what you need to know and what accommodations you need, and make sure that when you go into an interview that you let them know that you have a disability and these are the things that you need to have a successful interview, and make sure they have those things up front.
And likewise, how would you um, advise employers in terms of hiring someone with a disability and needing reasonable accommodations from that perspective?
What I would tell employers is that individuals with disabilities bring so much creativity to the job because we know how to solve problems. We are the greatest problem solvers. And I would tell them to be patient, to listen to their particular employee, and to work with their EO office to make sure that you can retain that talent.
How long have you been with your agency within the federal government?
So I started my career at the Central Intelligence Agency, and now I'm at the Defense Intelligence Agency, and I've been in intelligence for over a decade.
Yeah. So you've seen sort of the transition of things in terms of reasonable accommodations and those sorts of things, and how supervisors can help you get the things that you need. Any other things that you would recommend for even current employees who are within the federal government and making sure that they can continue employment and can continue to be an asset to their team?
Yes, I would recommend getting a mentor, um, particularly somebody, if that person doesn't have a disability, or even joining, or maybe if your agency doesn't have it, a disability council, so that you all can work together to look at the gaps within your agencies to make a difference, to always advocate for one another.
That's an excellent idea, and I'm part of our disability council here with my organization at the Naval Information Warfare Center Atlantic, and our larger organization as well. So definitely a wealth of resources there. Um, and Chandra, thank you so much for the insight that you've given my audience today. I really appreciate you for joining me today. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, just thank you for having me. I would like to encourage those who are listening to always be an advocate and to always be yourself and love yourself unapologetically, and always carry yourself like royalty.
I really like that. That's awesome. How can people follow you? I know you're Miss Wheelchair America 2024. So where can they follow you on social media?
You can follow me at Miss Wheelchair America on 24 on Facebook. You can also follow me at Chandra Chronicles, one word, and Instagram. And I also have a personal Facebook account that's just Chandra Smith, nothing special. So yes, those are my social media.
Awesome. And I know you'll be traveling around the country around for during your reign as Miss Wheelchair. And so if you're ever in the Southeast here in South Carolina or the Charleston area, we'd love for you to come speak and share your platform with us.
All righty, well, I will do so. Thank you so much. And my family's from South Carolina.
Oh,
So
what part of South Carolina?
Gaffney.
Okay, that's more in the Midlands, um, up in that region. So that's really cool. Yeah. So thanks again. This wraps up another episode of Tuesday Talk with Alex, where we are all living with a disability and a purpose.